Mass Effect is more than just an RPG cover shooter. At its core, it's the truest of role-playing experiences, filled with mysterious plotlines, ever-expanding worlds and environments, and numerous imaginative forms of tech and skill sets. But its most defining feature is its top-tier list of characters. As a single-player campaign, it provides your in-game experience with many compelling and complex companions, as well as an ever-expanding retinue of side characters with background traits ranging from desperate and dangerous fugitives on the run to simplistic and mediocre civilians in need. The main story is perfectly supplemented with a handful of archetypes. There's villains, tricksters, wise old men. Just about every squad mate makes a delightful sidekick, and of course, most of the main cast fit perfectly into the common role of the hero. But there's only one character who fits the role so uniquely that I personally consider them to be more important, nay, absolutely vital in the downfall of the Reapers. And I'm speaking, of course, of Conrad Verner. Greetings, Spacefarers, I'm Michael, and welcome to MTJ Disorder's Mass Effect lore. If you're into science fiction gaming and other action adventures, then please go ahead and like, share and subscribe for more. This won't take long, I promise, but in this video my hope is to at least slightly convince you that the obsessive, sometimes frightening adoring fan himself is Mass Effect's #1 unsung hero. Let's get started. There is absolutely no backstory to read of in regards to Conrad Verner, besides what is inferred, and what you can believe from his own mouth, of course. We know that he's from Earth, that he attended university, and studied physics no less. We do know he has family still, and despite lying about the existence of his own wife, there is plenty of evidence that his immediate family does exist, though he is somewhat estranged from them and is utterly oblivious to that fact. In 2183, Conrad can be found on the Citadel at the top of the stairs in the upper markets of the wards. Engaging with Conrad here will enable Shepard to further deal with him throughout their current adventures in the galaxy. After talking to Conrad, it becomes clear that he has a romanticized view of what life as a Spectre is like, and is more interested in the tall stories of Shepard's achievements. If Shepard tells him to get lost, Conrad will march off, determined to prove he too can represent humanity, after which he will not be seen again. An elevator announcement later explains his absence. Conrad picks a fight with a group of Turians and is killed as a result. Oh shit. This isn't going well. Let's back up. If Shepard is courteous and agrees to give him an autograph and then a photo, Conrad eventually convinces himself that he can be a hero as well, and asks Shepard to sign him on as a fellow Spectre and a member of the squad. Shepard can charm Conrad and convince him to stay at home with his, quote, wife, in which case he leaves quietly, thanking the commander for setting him straight. Alternatively, Shepard can intimidate him to show him what it is like to have a gun shoved in his face. If you do this, then Conrad will renounce Shepard as his hero and leave. If only there had been an option to sign him on right there and then. In 2185, Conrad shows up once again at the Eternity Bar on Ilium, showing the first signs of his cunning and capabilities, impersonating an Alliance officer wearing a replica N7 armor. Totally not against the law or anything. Most will say he is causing trouble in the bar as he is demanding the deed to the place from the bartender Matriarch Atheta. Regardless of your actions towards him in 2183, he remembers Shepard putting a gun in his face. Even though doing so caused him to renounce the commander as his hero, he has decided to travel around the galaxy to defeat crime despite having no formal training. I don't care what you say, that takes balls. Or stupidity, I guess, it depends on your perspective. Anyways, he insists that the galaxy needed someone to step up and fight for humanity after Shepard's supposed death, and he is fulfilling that role. After dealing with him, Conrad claims that he is working for an undercover officer who told him that the Eternity Bar is selling red sand, a narcotic that is used by biotics. Further investigation reveals he was lied to in order for the officer to obtain the deeds to the bar. Now, Conrad had been easily manipulated here into doing something that was likely going to get him into some serious trouble. But it's all good. If you confront the supposed officer, Conrad will praise Shepard and thank the commander for returning from the dead. And after that, it is reported on the news that Conrad has formed a charity foundation called Shepards for Refugees and Orphans. The seeds for his heroism are now laid. Alternatively, Conrad will storm off unhappily if Shepard tells him to get lost when first talking to him in the bar. Eventually, a news report will be heard reporting that Conrad has gotten himself killed, attempting to capture transient youth hitching a ride on top of a bus. The report goes on to detail that Conrad fell from the bus, struck several passing cars, and then eventually fell into the power turbine of a biomass recycling facility. Ouch. If Shepard bothered to interact with Conrad twice before, and Conrad didn't die horrifically either time, Shepard can see him again in the refugee sector of the Citadel in 2186 while investigating sabotage on local medical stations. And I know, this looks bad at first glance, but bear with me. At first, he is actively recruiting for Cerberus, his reasoning being that his hero, Commander Shepard, had been working with them before. It doesn't take long to convince him to stop this time, however, which in my opinion is a sign of true growth. Not wanting to be the cause of so much suffering, like a true hero, Conrad then asks the commander what he can do to help. This leads to finding out he has a doctoral degree in xenoscience, and he sends Shepard a copy of his dissertation on dark energy. After establishing further involvement with Gavin Hossel, a scientist Shepard once helped on Feros, and then providing Conrad with resources gathered from the first game, you will acquire a whopping 5 war assets to help in the conflict with the Reapers. This all because of one man. Well, and a little groundwork from Shepard too. Moving on, if Shepard speaks to Conrad enough times, Conrad will reveal what happened to the orphan shelter he founded a few months ago on Ilium. The shelter was doing really well until the Reapers attacked. Conrad continues by saying that he had to spend almost everything he had left to get the kids off-world, and Shepard reassures Conrad that he did do the right thing. Of course he did, it's Conrad Verner. The rest of this conversation is super pure and in no way weird or creepy. So Michael, you ask, at what point does any of this prove Conrad to be Mass Effect's unsung hero? Well, since that's why you're here, as you complete the Medijail sabotage mission, Conrad will come find you to congratulate you, and in doing so will be able to identify his Cerberus contact to Shepard directly. When the agent realizes he has been outed, he will attempt to shoot the commander, only for Conrad motherfucking Verner to dive before the slug protecting his hero. Luckily, Jenna, a young waitress Shepard hopefully helped in the first game, had sabotaged the agent's gun, thereby saving Conrad. They then get acquainted over Conrad's relationship with Shepard and presumably live happily ever after. And the game sells this sequence off as a slightly goofy resolution where Shepard was never in any real danger, nullifying Conrad's sacrifice. But back up just a second. Even if Jenna had sabotaged the gun, Conrad had literally no way of knowing this. All joking aside, we have established that Conrad isn't exactly the brightest star in the sky, and though his attempts to be the hero in the past have always led to a brutal death, thus vindicating Shepard's countless warnings, he still appears to have a heroic soul. His untimely demise in each scenario where Shepard chose to ignore his good intentions is a direct result of him being a hero, just not a very competent one. So when he dives before the gun in this cutscene, it may seem like just another goofy Conrad moment on the surface, but if Shepard never dealt with Jenna in 2183, Conrad will be shot dead by the Cerberus agent while attempting to save the commander's life.
That's him. That's my Cerberus contact. Hey, you! You're under arrest.
Shepard, did I help?
Yeah, Conrad. You helped.
I mean, holy shit. Shepard literally came that close to an untimely death of their own. And the only thing preventing it if you chose to rush your playthrough or just innocently missed that side quest in a previous game is Conrad Verner. Just let that sink in for a second. I had always assumed this sequence was a gag and a fitting end to a silly side character. But during one playthrough, which I affectionately called my, quote, epic fail-through, I saw this play out with what can only be described as a heroic sacrifice from a character who had only ever wanted nothing more than to do the right thing. So ultimately, had it not been for this sad, lonely, foolish man, Commander Shepard would have been killed, effectively ending the galaxy's hope at defeating the Reapers. Alternatively, you could just let him die off screen in Mass Effect 2 and the Cerberus agent will never reveal himself. But it's funny to think about. Thanks for watching. For more Mass Effect and related content, please like, share and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon to be informed of the next video. Keyless Ally, my friends, and until next time,
I should go.